I just discovered a way where you can get the benefits of buying a used, cheaper graphics card, such as really high priced performance, but without the disadvantages such as getting scammed or buying something that doesn't work. This here is a literal brand new RX 580 8GB GPU, and this card is listed on AliExpress for just $75, and the kicker is that it's fully legit, fully tested, and honestly, I'm personally gonna be buying a ton of. And no, I have zero connection with this brand. I literally just stumbled upon this, and honestly, I wish I would have found this way sooner than I did. Today, we'll deep dive into whether or not this company is legit, whether or not you can trust this specific graphics card, and of course, we'll be benchmarking it to make sure we get some legit gaming FPS numbers. And later on in the video, I'm gonna show you what I think is the new gold mine for budget graphics cards, especially for us PC flippers. But before we get into that, let's hear a quick word from today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by GVG Mall, and you probably already know that I've been using them for so long to activate Windows on a ton of my own builds. They're actually running a huge sale right now, which boosts my normal 18% discount up to 25% off if you use code ZTT18, and I'll have that linked at the top of the description. They not only have Windows keys, but also a ton of other stuff such as Office, and even game keys for platforms like Steam, Origin, and Uplay, and they even have console stuff too, like PSN and Xbox prepaid cards as well. Activating Windows is super simple and only takes like 3 minutes total, so activate Windows today and remove that nasty watermark, and don't forget to use ZTT18 for 25% off. So starting with the ultimate question, what's the catch? Here's what I think is the answer to that. This brand new MingZhou RX 580 8GB is indeed brand new, and it's actually an RX 580, but it's a slightly stripped down version of the 580 compared to the original model. Here you can see that there's now slightly less shading units, compute units, and even slightly lower bass and boost clocks, but it's still all extremely similar and results in pretty close to the same exact performance. What I think happened is that manufacturers over in China had a bunch of extra RX 580 silicone, and instead of using these diminished chips for something like an RX 570, they instead just decided to create a newer version of the 580. It's just slightly stripped down compared to the original. I'm obviously not 100% sure on that, but it makes sense to me, so that's my best guess. And aside from slightly less performance, that also means that these consume slightly less power compared to the original 580, and Tech Yes City actually tested this card as well and recorded that it consumes about 250 watts from the wall, which isn't too bad at all. In terms of temperatures, our card was only getting to around 63 degrees Celsius when being pegged to 100% during 3D Mark's Time Spy, so honestly, things are looking really good from here. Now, in terms of performance, we'll get to our full benchmarking run in just a bit, but the AliExpress page shows that they actually tested their card against an RX 480 and a GTX 1060 in 3D Mark's Firestrike and Time Spy, and as you can see, it's getting slightly better results as you should expect. It's actually really comforting and great to see this, and not just because of the numbers, but this actually proves that the marketing team behind this GPU actually knows which data to show and which data that us gamers are actually interested in. There's no extra gamer graphics or anime or anything. This is just really good testing methodology. You love to see it. On this page as well, they're also showcasing a ton of information about the company itself and how they've been building GPUs for 30 years now, and their testing operations and facility just looks really nice and high quality. This isn't a couple of sketchy dudes building DIY graphics cards in a garage. Now, there is one sketchy thing that I'm definitely not a huge fan of, and that's the fact that you're not exactly guaranteed on which specific model of the RX 580 that you're gonna get. Now, I'm pretty sure the performance is all the same on all of them, although I haven't confirmed this myself, but here you can see that there's 3 different aesthetic models, and they all have a different port selection as well. The one I ended up with is the first option, which is the worst in terms of ports because the DVI port is useless in 2023, but I think I did get the best aesthetic option because it's all black compared to the gray color in the second option, and mine also doesn't have any exposed copper heat pipes like the third one has. I also really like the backplate on mine. This is a really clean looking graphics card that's perfect for an all black build like our testing rig today. More on that later. Everything else on the website, including the customer reviews, shows that this is the most popular graphics card, so I would assume that they're gonna produce these more than the others, but I have no idea how many times you're gonna get that second or the third option compared to this one. Again, kinda sketchy. But speaking of those user reviews, that part is definitely not shady. As you can see here on the AliExpress page, there's been over 20,000 sold units so far, and it's the very first option that comes up when you search for RX 580 8GB new. The bonus is that there's over 4,000 reviews with a 4.6 out of 5-star rating, which is obviously really good. 81% of these reviews are a full 5-star, so there's enough people buying this, including myself, that are happy with them. So I think that this should just be comforting enough for you. It is for me. Now, at the time of this video, the price has jumped up to $85, but I personally saw it sitting at $75 for multiple months, so hopefully it drops back down to that. But even at $85, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. And one more thing I wanted to mention about the AliExpress page is that it shows what their packaging looks like, and this mimics what I saw with my card out in the real world. They ship it with full protections, and they also have a ton of inventory so they can ship them out really quickly. I got mine in about 2 weeks, which is pretty solid for AliExpress coming to the US. So next up, I want to run some benchmarks on this card and prove to you that it's actually a reliable unit, and then I want to talk about why you should buy this one over a more legit used RX 580 and why this is also a better option than some new graphics cards today. Here's the testing rig we'll be using today, and we'll indeed be selling this on the zaxtechdrift.com website on our next February 1st launch. We'll be selling it with an RTX 3060 though, by the way. But please remember that our builds sell out within like an hour or so because of the crazy low prices, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And just as a quick sidebar, if you're an exclusive, then you'll get priority access to all of these monthly website launches. I unlock the website for them about 30 minutes before I do everyone else. That way they can buy these PCs first. And that's just one of the many benefits of becoming an exclusive. And all you gotta do to join is to click that join button down below. Thank you for the support. But yeah, for our rig today, this is rocking a Ryzen 5 5600, 16 gigabytes of DDR4 clocked at 3200 megahertz. We got the new NZXT H5 Flow black case and T120 CPU cooler, bumping up our aesthetics to a whole new planet. And powering all of this is the Deepcool PQ650M. Deepcool actually sent this over, and it's a power supply that I, and probably you, need to stop sleeping on. This is an 80 plus gold and fully modular unit that's rated tier A on the PSU tier list, aka the highest tier. And this is a seriously reliable unit. This is built with the best of the best components, and it's rock solid. I'll have this link down in the description along with literally everything else that I'm talking about today. And one more thing about the testing rig, we aren't going to be bottlenecked at all by the 5600. I don't feel the need to use something like a 15900K. This will be perfectly fine for what we're doing today. And without further ado, here's the numbers that we got for 1080p with this RX 580. And as you can see, these are very solid numbers for a budget $75 to $85 brand new graphics card. Honestly, you 100% can't find that price to performance on any new graphics card anywhere on the planet. But if you want to compare with a used card, then the GTX 970 would probably be my top pick. Here in green are the results that we got with a used GTX 970 with 4 gigabytes of VRAM, and as you can see, these cards are trading blows with each other. These numbers not only prove that this is pretty good price to performance for a brand new graphics card, but it also verifies the performance that we were expecting from a slightly trimmed down RX 580. All those numbers checked out, and the GTX 1060 6GB card would be very comparable as well. Another great feature about this RX 580 over a brand new option such as the RX 6400 is that it does have a built-in encoder, which we all know at this point the RX 6400 does not, and the 6400 also costs around double the price as this one. Now, the other comparison I want to talk about is why someone wouldn't just buy a used RX 580 that they know is legit. Used RX 580s are already around this similar price point, so I would naturally just rather buy a new card compared to a used card. But the thing you have to remember is that used RX 580s have most likely gone through 2 cryptocurrency booms at this point. RX 580s were extremely popular mining cards during both the 2018 boom and crash as well as the recent 2022 boom and crash. This means that these cards were probably hammered for multiple years now, and there's also a chance that they swapped owners 2, 3, or maybe even 4 times by now.
580
belongs to the streets.
Don't get me wrong, we've all heard about how miners usually take better care of their cards compared to gamers, but with multiple owners, multiple shipments, and just the fact that they've been hammered for years now, there are certainly some serious disadvantages when buying a used card like that. For me personally, I'm probably just going to continue buying these new graphics cards instead of the used ones, but earlier in the video I told you about a potential GPU gold mine, so we need to talk about that real quickly as well. Here on MingZhou's AliExpress page, you can see that they are selling a ton of other products such as different GPU models and even CPUs, but here's what I think could be the new treasure chest of GPU possibilities. They have this brand new RX 590 8GB for $99, there's an RTX 2060 Super 8GB for $179, and there's even a much newer RTX 3060 Ti 8GB for just $329. That is some really competitive pricing, and I haven't done the testing on those cards myself. Let me know by smashing that like button if you want to see me review those graphics cards as well. I also definitely want to hear from you down in the comments section if you'll consider buying one of these cards like the 580 in the future. And just as a random quick reminder, we are selling brand new PCs that are always restocked on the zaxtechdrift.com website. We have the Frost Nova here, and it's been selling really well if you're interested. And if you're interested in other budget graphics cards that cost less than $100 but they aren't from AliExpress, then feel free to click the video that's on the screen now.